Okay, so welcome to the final capstone presentations for our cohort at CodeX. This is our May cohort, level 3. We have been working on APIs, making our own API servers, doing a little bit in terms of databases as well. And the main thing we've been working on is React. So we're not in HTML land anymore. And that is what our whole what we've been doing for the last 2 months. And for the last 2 weeks, we've been building this. So we have four presenters. And we're going to start off with Trincel. So why don't we give a virtual round of applause for Trincel before we get started? Where's my virtual? There we go. Get started with that. Okay.
I can't see the round of applause, but okay.
Don't worry, it's coming here. So okay,
All
so
right.
you want to start us off here?
Through everything? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. My name is Trincel. I'm presenting an app that's actually near and dear to me because I am a very bad allergy sufferer. If you guys remember a couple of days ago, I actually was in class halfway swollen from an allergy issue. This is the whole reason behind this particular application is because a lot of the times that I have before I leave the house, I have to at least check the weather to see, especially when it's hot here, exactly what is the weather at, especially the AQI, because that's the part that actually hampers my ability to be outdoors a lot. So originally the project started out as a web page. This is the original project where I also have in um, basically the same schematics as far as the checklist, resources, and the API that are used in the original project. I just put it inside of an application with some future revamping coming to add of the other resources that are missing, as well as the trivia game that is in the original website and the AI that was already integrated that needs to be added in at a later time that I'm not going to work with because of some steps I got to work on to get that done. But with the app, same schematics. This is the splash page that introduces the welcome page. It gives you some resources along with if you look at the exact same checklist that was on the original design, which I need to go back and actually edit some of this stuff because it's missing some stuff in there incorrectly. So when you go through and you get started and you're on the actual API page and you want to see what the current air quality is in the area, all you have to do, because I set it to be multinational, is put in the zip code or postal code to where you are in this country and the abbreviation form and click get the data. And once it's done, it's actually going to present to you first the AQI quality score, which is an air quality score that basically tells you how heavy particles are in the air that pertains to people that, like me, with asthma and allergy issues, that actually tells you where the score is. So that way, if it's above highest that I've seen in this area is 72 at one point in time, that was because we had a dust storm. um, that tells you whether or not it's safe for you to be outside if you're asthmatic. So that's the whole point of this particular part of this design. The feature integration is going to have an actual subscribe button here where you're going to end up subscribing to a mailing list, which, like it shows on the actual home page, is going to mail you not just the resource, it's going to email you this checklist that I need to rewrite again. And then once it's emailed, it's going to send you some information. I'm trying to also set it to send you that AQI data, but for some reason, the code with the way I wrote it was not letting me do the email. In order for you to get daily AQI reminders, that's going to be something I have to work on a later date that takes a little bit longer to work on. But this is an actual about design of me that talks about the different things that I've done since I've been in the program, working with other folks to learn everything. I've created sites for nonprofits as well, and I do have a nonprofit that I'm actually getting started as well myself. And it talks about a little bit about what the app is actually about, which is the third page that's part of this particular project. This is the labor of love that's still going to continue to grow. I am not completely done. I still have more things I would like to add to this app. So, any questions, or do I need to let somebody else go behind me?
Let's do questions. And thank you for those of you who just joined. We're gonna have Trincell just presented her capstone project here about the allergy um, data that you're able to get for your zip code. Um, yeah, give us a question if you have a question. Let me wait a second. Anything you're curious about?
Hey, my name is Jason. I don't have a question. I just like to say awesome. I've seen you do a lot of work on this, and it looks
Mhm.
great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we did do a lot of work. You can vouch for that.
Yeah, it
Um,
was. And I'm not done, like I said. I still got stuff I'm putting
yeah.
in here that I'm moving from the original project. The original project has a trivia game in it, as we all remember from last presentation, where it has a dashboard. I'm trying to get this dashboard to actually work as I intended it, like this, and add in 4 more categories. So right now, the dashboard, the way I wrote it in this particular project, the current one is not doing what I asked it to do, and is not giving the user a place to put their name in. So it saves their score like it did the original time, where it would save their score, they'd leave the page, come back, and the score pulls back up again. It's not doing it. So it's going to take a little while for me to write that part. And also add in the rest of the resource links and turn in set also on there where you can print also from the app like this one does. When you're on this particular page, you can actually tell it to print it and it'll pull up a printer for you to print out that actual checklist, which I don't know why it says to 2 page, but this is the actual checklist in print form. So you can print it or you can email it, but I'm trying to set it both ways. And that's going to take a little while for me to rewrite all of that stuff because it's a lot of code in this original application setup. So, yep.
Let me ask you,
Mm-hmm.
the difference between before we were doing the HTML and now we're doing
Mm-hmm.
the React. Um, how is it different to work with? Would you think one is easier, one is harder, or are there differences between what is difficult about it? How do you feel about working with React now instead of just HTML?
Y'all, the funniest part is I've been learning HTML since 2003 actually was my first time learning HTML. I stopped working in HTML for a while because I went into other ventures as far as job was concerned, work was concerned, and I got away from it. But HTML, if you think about it, it's more tedious. You have to now figure out a plan of action before you start typing your HTML code. Because if you don't, you're going to be sitting up getting mad because now you got to figure out where you need to put your edits in and what stuff you need to actually function. Now, why I like Next.js and React is because you start designing these components and backgrounds ahead of time. That's the difference is already something that I already knew what the design was going to be. I was just basically taking the design similar to this and changing it to where it looks like this in this app by designing all of them. Each piece of this thing, each one of these things is some form of a component where it's come from an ear image or a nav bar is something that you don't have to write in like you did with HTML. All you need to do is just make sure you import it into the proper screen where it's supposed to go. And in doing this, I noticed it made it easier to use React to write the nav bar as opposed to in HTML, because in HTML, you can copy and paste the codes for your nav bar into every single page. However, you also need to remember, hey, what page you're sitting on, you need to take that particular nav button off that nav bar because there's no point in putting a nav button there for the page you're already sitting on, like the about page. There's no reason to have an about nav button in the nav bar. So with doing the components, I made the design change to where each page had its own specific component for the nav bar. I didn't have to keep going back and remember to edit the links. I just had to, the only difference I need to make myself aware of when I am putting in links to pages is remember not to use the anchor tags because I had anchor tags all over the project and I had to go back and change all of them because of the fact that with React and when it's building the page, it does not like the anchor tags. So my part of having to go back is take all the anchor tags out. That way it stops doing that and then to build the project the way that I intended. So by building the components ahead of time, because I already knew what the design was going to be, by building them ahead of time gave me a lot of time to focus on the coding side, which is what the API was. So that way when setting up the server and everything that needs to go in, I had time to work on that part because the components were already built. Okay. So
Yeah, with
that's the
React,
difference.
you're able to build the components first and just pop them in. And if we
Mhm.
had a minute more, I'd ask you to show us the how that simplifies our code. But I don't know. We got to move on to the next
Right.
presenter. Thank you so much. Let's give Chancel a round of applause. Thanks for your hard work
Thank
on
you.
this. And now you can go back to your Zoom and you can see the chats there of the chopping. Okay. All right. Okay. And then as we go, remember, keep some questions in mind because those are good questions or comments. And thanks, Jason, for just giving us a comment there. Okay. So yeah. Oh, and Chris has mentioned a few comments here too, I think. All right. Let's number 2 is Raquel.
Hi,
Ready?
I have a slideshow, so let me share the page and hopefully within Zoom, the slideshow will work well.
And there it is. And
Okay,
then
I just need to move this over and
see if it
slideshow.
does it.
Can y'all
There,
see
we can
it?
see it.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. All right, so about me. Which y'all know, the background in multimedia art, graphic design, photography, web design, video editing. My goal is to integrate my diverse skills and creativity into the web programming field. Oh, and this is this little bar. My app name, the Daily Tarot app. Oh, the app is a light-hearted, fun, and inspirational app for people who like to play with tarot card readings. The user can click to fetch a card as many times as they want and learn about each card interpretation and get a message of ways to either be inspired or to navigate through difficult times. And here's my wireframe that I started out with. Let me move this. So yeah, I pretty much kept to the beginning, to the wireframe. I did change a little bit things on the contact page. I decided to ask for the email of the user so that I would have that saved, their data saved, so I can respond to them and reach out if they had any questions about my app or about tarot, because I've been doing tarot since I was a kid, actually. So I really like it. And how it works. Oh, let me see. Let me get back in here so I can put a link in. So I put a link into my deployed so y'all can check it out and send me a message or write a comment or whatever you want. And so yeah, it's basically you just click and every time it randomly picks a tarot card with a little message of the interpretation, and then dealing with the interpretation of the card, kind of like a little message of inspiration. And how I tested it out and my proofs of life. So on the home page, it's welcome to the app, and then shows, once I clicked the fetch, it showed I had a console log and it showed that the fetch was successful. And my about page is really just, I'll show y'all, just basically about my whole process of creating and the app and, deploying on Vercel, and then also using the contact form with resend, and then saving data on Upstash Redis. And let me see, so also the proof of life, message sent successful. And then on the very right, you can see this is the payload, which shows the email address, the message, subject, and name, which is super useful. Let me see, what was the next part? Sorry. What did I learn? I learned a lot throughout this project. It was my first time building a site primarily with JavaScript rather than relying mostly on HTML. And the first time using Tailwind instead of Bootstrap or just plain CSS. I also learned how to create components in Storybook, which is very useful as components can be reused. I also learned to send emails and save email data using secured APIs with Resend and Redis. While each of these tasks was challenging at first, I got the hang of them with lots of practice. There's still a lot to learn, which I welcome because I'm enjoying the CodeX learning journey very much. And yeah, and then so before any questions, I'll show y'all right here. So yeah, this just shows the card. And then the about. This is basically just I gave you a summary, but it goes from beginning the project and how I had to I originally was going to use an external Tarot API, but it didn't have the image URLs. So I basically compiled a Tarot data JSON file that contains all the information that I edited, and then also URL to all the images of the cards. So it was really fun learning to do that, and it further inspired me just because I've been working on creating my own tarot deck. So I'm going to build a whole API, which is going to take time, but it's going to be a fun project that this project inspired me to do. And then, so yeah, I go on to talk about how I implemented the API endpoint to fetch the card locally, which I kind of just explained. And yeah, so that, and so this is the contact me. This information is all saved through the Upstash and then on Resend also. And so email, subject, tarot. Tarot is fun. Send message. Oh, failed to send message. I think this is the different. Was it this one? Oh, that would be bad.
Live demos,
Yeah.
It was working.
It was working until I showed everyone, but here it shows on Resend. It has.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So this is how you can actually check. You can actually show how you check. So
Yeah.
everybody see those say delivered. So that's definitely a test of that it was working.
Yeah.
And so
it has from whoever and their email address. And so I put that, if they want a personal tarot reading, let me know. And so I can check that. And I get notifications on my phone while through my email that I am. So if anyone has a question, I can contact them back if they have questions about anything with my site or tarot reading. And so yeah, that's my project.
Very nice. And I do want to see if anyone has a question. Let's see. Anyone who's just joining, welcome. Welcome to our little chat here. And you know, if you're just joining, feel free to ask a question. Any sort of question that you want to ask. It could be technical or non-technical. And Raquel just can't get this out of her mind. She's got to test it, don't you? It's got to
Yeah.
work. You
Yeah,
won't be able
like
to sleep until this is, you know how it is.
seriously, it will haunt my dreams.
Yeah. Savannah, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh God, I think it's this.
You said that you were looking into making your own API for the tarot. Where do you plan to start with that? Like, what do you think your first move is going to be with that?
For making the API.
Yes.
Okay, well, let me share my page again, and then I'll show you my JSON.
Okay.
or
Yeah, I'm only asking
JSON.
because, like, I honestly have no idea where I would begin to make an API in research.
Well, yeah, let's see. Where's my tarot? Can y'all see my page? Did I share?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure. So basically, you just start on a JSON file. Like we had the class where we were learning about the Hello.js and how to build that with whatever information we have. And so when I was on Postman looking for tarot APIs, basically it's pretty tedious, but you just like, I used this and I basically all the images, I brought in all the images. And so you have it enter all this information. But what I'm going to do, since there's already all of this, I'm just going to edit everything. And then I'm also going to be presenting in the image link. Well, I'm going to have to make a whole, like a GitHub with all my images and then use the image link to bring those on through Fetch, or yeah, it'll be external, but for me, it'll be locally because I'll have them all. So that's basically where I figured I would start, was just creating a whole local JSON file.
Wow, I'm really impressed with that because I would not know where to begin from A to Z on that one. I'm really impressed with all your entire project and Trincell's.
Thank you. Thank you. It's fun. For me, it was important to not, because I was gonna do like maybe a 3-card spread or a 10-card spread, but I wanted to do one step at a time so I can learn it before overextending and being a little bit too ambitious, because I lose a lot of sleep over stuff like this. And because I'm interested in it, but then I want to learn at kind of like at my comfortable pace and not try to take on way too much. So that's why I started with just like a 1 card. And then and also it was important to find a subject that I'm really interested in, which is, either photography or tarot, always something that I'm into. Because it makes working on the project, even when you hit all the roadblocks and all the tedious part, it just makes it like so much more, I don't know, kind of just satisfying once you get over that roadblock. It just feels like, you just get that nice rush of adrenaline and serotonin and all those wonderful things. Oh yeah. Any other questions?
And if you're just joining us, feel free to ask a question. It doesn't have to be technical, can be any sort of question you want. But or or you can just watch, it's just fine. But thank you for joining us here. Yeah,
All right.
I'll just read what Chinsel said. When you have a roadblock, it's very satisfying when you get past them, isn't it? Yeah. But not very, it's so stressful when you have them. And you're gonna have that little roadblock fixing that silly little that little error that you have on the deploy, I think. So
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, it's with Vercel because they have
mhm,
like two different links, and the original link, it has like Capstone dash tarot and then dot and some numbers and then
mhm,
Vercel. And
mhm,
then there was another one without the numbers, and I thought that the one without all the numbers after Capstone Tarot looked cleaner, so I
mhm,
used that one. But it
yeah.
was
Mhm.
obviously the other one
No,
with the
that is the right one. That's the public one. And then the other one, there who know, yeah, there you might have to redeploy or something. I'm not sure,
Oh
but that's the
yeah,
right
maybe
one.
I have to redeploy.
Could be.
Yeah, because I haven't changed anything to the contact me page. I haven't changed
Could
anything
be.
at all. But yeah.
Oh, we do have a question. Thanks. What was the inspiration behind choosing the apps you all created? And maybe just real quick, Raquel, you want to answer?
Oh yeah, well for me it's because I'm very interested in tarot, so I thought to implement it because there's all the tarot APIs out there, and then a lot of the interpretations of the tarot APIs are actually pretty inaccurate since I've been doing it for so many decades. So that inspired me to want to create my own tarot API, but just doing subjects that are interesting to me that makes the project like a lot more of an enjoyable process.
Yeah. And exploring the fact that there's hundreds of other people, or at least a bunch of other people out there doing a similar thing, and you kind of build off what they have. I mean, they have a pretty good starting point, but you wanna tweak it, and since we have GitHub, we have that ability. We can fix things, tweak it, and release it again, and release our improved version to the world. And so, yeah, let's move to Laquanda. How about that? We're making really good time, I think. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's do our virtual round of applause. Clap, 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 clap. All right. Okay. And then Laquanda, if you're ready, you can go ahead. And yeah, think of questions as we go, because it's all about presenting it to you all. So if you have questions, that's what it's all about. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Everybody here? Give me a thumbs up.
Okay. So, hi everybody. My name's Laquanda. I'm a software developer with a background in culinary arts. My journey into tech actually began with CodeX Academy, where I'm basically learning all of the foundations of full stack development. Although I'm new to this industry, I've always been curious about the creative aspect of technology, and this program has been a good starting point for my learning journey. For the future, as far as the future, I'm not really sure in which path I want to take. I'm just at the moment I just want to gain some experience and like get my foot in the door. But one day I would love to create a blog to basically teach techniques I've learned so far and are in the process of learning. Okay. So the name of my project is Peace of Mind, where you can discover yourself one entry at a time. So the reason why I created this project was the problem. Was life can feel overwhelming, leaving many of us unsure about our direction, or cause us to disconnect from our emotions. Whether we face self-doubt, struggle to reflect on our progress, or feel lost in the fast paces of life, we often forget to pause and acknowledge our journey. So with this, we often ask these questions: Who am I? How am I feeling? And what can I do to grow? So my project, Peace of Mind, solves this problem by providing a safe space for users to document their thoughts, track their moods, and reflect on their personal growth. It offers features like journaling, where users can write daily entries, mood tracking, where it presents a simple radio selector where they can select their emotion for that day, and it will track it inside of a chart. And there's many inspirational quotes throughout the site and other resources for mental health, articles, and just guided meditations. So by combining journaling, mood tracking, and motivational tools, this app encourages self-discovery and emotional resilience. This was my wireframe for this project. And basically, it took me a couple of days to create this. I basically sat down and I thought about what was the criteria for this project. I wrote out slogans and what I wanted to display, and that's how I came up with each aspect of this wireframe. So this would be my home page that a simple hero. It's basically it takes a quotes in from Ninja API quotes, and then this is a hover card displaying each feature and going into detail what each feature displays. And the resources page is filled with inspirational cards, image cards, mental health hotline resources, articles from websites like APA and other mental institutes, and it offers a guided meditation section and a tips section for how to use the site or how to utilize the site. And it even has journal prompts if you don't know what you want to talk about. The dashboard is more of an authorized site where you would have to be signed in or logged into the website for you to access the features of it, where you would check your mood in for the day and your mood would be tracked inside of this um mood summary, and it will show your most recent um, journal entries, and you can go to a view all page where you can see your the rest of the journals that you've tracked so far. The About Me page is just a simple About Me page explaining the purpose of the site, its features, and privacy um, support. Yeah. Okay. So to demo the project, where is, okay, can't see my thing. All right. So, running controls. So this is the home page of the site. And I should say it has, if you refresh the page, A new quote pops up each time, and this hover card displays the features for the journal, personal journal, mood tracking, and resources. And if you go here, it will lead you into a login page so you can start journal. And this page will route you to the journal dashboard. But I'm going to go back to the home. Okay. And I'm just go through the About Me page. The About Me page is just a simple About Me page that's stating what the website is about, the mission, and going in more detail about the features and why you should choose it. And this is another link to log in. And the resources page, I had trouble with the API, Zen Quotes API, so I had to create my own API to create these image cards, and it would display different cards at random. Is some of my favorite quotes I've come across. So if you refresh it, it would a new set of quotes will pop up. These are the assistance lines. These are the actual lines that you can connect to. And these are articles from the APA website, which was another API I had to create for this. And it would lead you to the actual article in um, the American Psychological Association website for you to check out their other resources. For this guided meditation, um, I basically give resources for sites you can use like Headspace, Calm, and Insight Timer. This Insight Timer, it has a lot of free guided meditations and stuff like this. This one is a morning prayer. One you can play it on the site, or if you want to go, you can just click this and go straight to the Insight Timer website to that specific one. I wanted to mimic the Google's deep breathing exercise. So if you just want a moment, so I created this where you can just do a guided breathing and it'll play like a audio for you to take deep breaths. It follows the 4-7-8 breathing techniques. You stop this. Okay. And for the mood tracking journaling tips section, it basically just gives you some tips on how to use and how to use the website. And I did this journal prompts section, so if you don't know what to talk about, you can just pick a random one like reflection, and this will pop up and giving you options to choose, like just simple questions to choose to talk about. Um, okay, so for the main one, oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, each page has a nighttime mode if you prefer dark mode over the light one. So to access the journal page, if you try to go on the journal page, I set it up where it will redirect you to the login page if you're not logged in. So I'm gonna sign in real quick. Email magic link. So this, see. So it sends this email. I can make it bigger. Sends this email to your site, and this link does disappear within 15 minutes. So click this. Okay. And here on the journal page, you can track your mood. So, and it displays what each mood says with a tooltip, I believe. So if you do this one, it says your calm mode has been tracked. And just to see it reflect in the chart, all you have to do is hit the refresh button and it would appear. Okay, and if you want to add a journal entry, a modal will pop up and you can label it for that day, or you can go to a previous day if you forgot to track for that day. So and you could save an entry and alert will pop up saying your entry is saved. And to close it, you just hit cancel. And then you hit the refresh button to see your most recent entry. And if you want to view all of your entries, because this section will only display 3 entries, the recent 3 entries, yeah. So you go to this page and it will display all of your entries. So, okay, I think that's pretty much it. And let's see. Okay. Okay, some of the things that I learned on this project was setting up and creating API proxies and implementing React hooks. For this project, I used, as you saw with the dark and light mode, I used state. And for the audio that played on the meditation, I used the useref thing. And to route between pages or to get the page to route to, like with the login to route directly to the journal entry, I used use router. And another one was establishing authentication with the magic link system and storing everything with Upstash, Redis. Some challenges I faced was debugging the authentication. I was up all yesterday. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. Because Vercel had a problem with um the authentication for the journal page, so I've been up for a while. I'm gonna crash after all of this is done. But, um and making this app dynamic while ensuring privacy for the journal entries. So with this app, I wanted to make sure that it matched mobile designs. So it took me a little longer in designing everything because I wanted it to work well with mobile designs because that was one aspect I really struggled with getting to work for smaller screens. And another thing I learned was like personal growth through this project. It reinforced the importance of persistence and problem solving when faced with technical roadblocks because it definitely tested me. Okay, so and so the inspiration behind this app, the reason why I named this app Peace of Mind, it was inspired by a song by Lauryn Hill that I discovered many years ago. The lyrics resonated deeply and reflected the universal search for inner peace. This app is rooted in my personal journey overcoming self-doubt, discovering my potential, and reflecting on how far I've come. A quote I came across during a tough time is, "You are now standing in the prayer you once prayed for." And that reminded me to appreciate my journey and which inspired this project. This app is not just a tool, it's a personal mission to create a space for myself and others to find clarity and growth. It's a starting point for anyone seeking to rediscover themselves by journaling, tracking emotions, finding encouragement, and users can take a small step towards inner peace and personal growth one day at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's do a little virtual round of applause here. And can someone ask a question? Anybody out there want to ask a question? Who's out there?
I have a question. With I
Tinsel.
noticed each of your page had different like sections and cards. Those were all of your components that you designed to appear that way in the page, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hold on. I can share the screen. I think I have my code still up.
Yeah. Is Storybook still working?
Yeah, I did not update it though, because I think I did update it. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
because if you notice, the new storybook doesn't put the stories in your components anymore. It creates a completely separate folder. If you look at my codes, it's in a completely separate folder from the components. I didn't notice until just now when I noticed my storybook is not in the same file. So,
okay, as you can see I basically broke each page down into components.
mhm,
So, and like if you go to, I still have quite a bit of content on my page. But when I move stuff to a component, it just depends on how much I'm doing in it. Like if I'm gonna say I'm gonna create a dynamic card that I want to display on multiple pages, then I'm gonna create a component for it. Or if it's like something that's more tedious, like the breathing exercise, then I'm gonna move it
mhm.
to its own component. So for the journal section, where is it? Journal index. If you see here, what I did is I broke everything down into basically 4 divs that was like
Nice.
wrapped into a div. And how I initially did it, I say, okay, this is going to be my checking mood section. This is going to be for my chart. This is going to be for the welcome, and this is going to be for the journal entry. And then I designed everything around it. And then I did everything on the page first, and then I moved all of them into their own components, just so I can see how the design was going to flow together. And then once I say, okay, this is going to work, then I move them to their own components. And like the first thing I did when I started this project is created all my global components. I basically did my nav bars, my footers, cards that I knew I was going to use throughout the project. And so I can kind of show you how I kind of organized myself. Okay. So I created like this project schedule, like day one, focus on this, create global components, do your image cards and stuff like that. And to like, as far as creating my peace of mind project, where is it? So this is like, I did like a brainstorming thing where, okay, I'll say, okay, I wanna, these are some call to actions I want to do. These are some slogans I want to do. On the home page, I want this. On the journal page, I want this. These features I want to implement later on. These are some resources and it's just like about page. I did everything from like checking Google, like setting up my themes, coming up with Google fonts and stuff like that. So, and it's just with this project it took a lot of time and it's just for me I have to organize myself. I can't be all over the place because I would like lose it. I'll explain it. But yeah. Did that answer your question?
I'm sorry, I kind of like got in a side conversation trying to tell people that we were still doing presentations. Yes, ma'am, that answered my
No
question.
problem.
I was still trying to get us an audience in here. Two of my family members and my business partners showed up, but the people that said they would come and didn't show up. I'm about to fuss at them.
And anybody else wants to ask a question, go ahead and throw that out. Thanks for showing us the code, though. It was
No
really
problem.
good to see, especially how you start out with a you write it in to see how it looks, and then you say, well, there's too much there, it's going to confuse me,
Mhm.
and you refactor it and put it in its own component. That's really a smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if any guest wants to come in and ask a quick question,
Mm.
anybody out there or any of our yeah, and I noticed that you mentioned that you did finally get the journal. You had the mood working on Thursday, but it sounds like
Yeah.
you were scrambling to get that the journal, and you seemed to pull it off.
Yeah, and then when I did that, the mood ended up crashing, so I had to go back.
Somehow.
Yeah. So I
So in
had to
other
put a
words, you had that same thing too. You fix one thing, the other thing break. You fix that,
exact
that one break. And I'm like, really? Can I get
exactly. All I
to
could
the
say, I
next part?
say, all I could say,
Exactly.
all I could say is like,
Exactly.
oh, I'm a developer. I was like, I'm so tired.
Yeah, testing. You have to test. Okay, we got one more. And if you could just stay for maybe 15 more minutes, we're gonna finish up with Jennifer. Apologies for going over.
Okay, let's see. Um, this is the splash page. I bullet journal a lot, and so oh, sorry. I wanted to like, I don't know, kind of incorporate that. Like with my bullet journals, like I track like kind of my hobbies and projects and stuff, but I kind of wanted to do a little too much with this. So these are just like the cards that show like the different pages and everything. And so from here, it's like a welcome page. I haven't gotten the login to work, but from here it would like bring you to like your all your stuff so you can actually track them. But then if you click on one of these, it'll bring you to the pages, and then you have like the nav bar for everything. The calendar, I looked into the React calendars and everything, and like I just didn't like the way they were, so I made this from scratch. And like the header right here is its own component, and it like moves through the years and everything. Um, the day grids, like you can add an event and then the little pop-up. And I kind of need to tweak up the time or whatever. They're not like in double digits. Um, and then the button I need to redo. So I'm not completely done. And then it adds this sidebar. I wanted it to be up here, but could not get that to work. But then we have to-dos. And then all of this is saved on Redis for the calendar right here. And then it scratches it out. And I haven't done the API to like delete or patch or anything for the API routes, so they will still be here even if I delete them. And then on the calendar, it won't let you like do anything like like it only does into the future or the same day. And then for the habits, I got the pie chart to kind of work with it, and it increments, like you can move through like if you want to make 30 days or a week, but usually I like to just do it for a week so I can kind of keep track of if I did it, through the week. And then when you hit the progress button, it increments by 1 and it's calculated by, it'll divide your progress by however much your frequency is, which would be the days. And then that's how it finds the calculation for the pie chart. With the habits, I couldn't save it to Redis like with the progress for stuff. Like I just couldn't figure it out. So I ended up having to save everything to local storage for my habits instead of Redis because it wouldn't work with my pie chart. So that's what I kept it like that. And then the journal page, I used the React calendar for that. It was kind of difficult to style. You have to like go in and do like its own little style sheet and then do important, like the explanation important like on the styles because like it won't do like I did the background purple and the font colors purple. And for these, it's just like an alert and then I like copy it and then paste it, but they stay on. Like I had to do that to local storage as well. But with the journals, this goes to Redis as well. Uh, so yeah, and then it goes, and then the dates are a little off that I have to do. With this, I don't know, it's still on here, but I probably want to take it off because I haven't really saved it to anything, but I did get it to log down here. And then these are like the awesome font icons that I got. And then when you log it, it'll log right there. And then I have the about this, like I recently changed the name on it. And so this talks a little bit about the app where you can, track your events and to-dos and journaling and the mood calendar. And then a little bit about me. And then I have the links for my LinkedIn and GitHub. And then my contact me works. I usually don't put like, because it takes forever to write my email address, but it'll still go to my email and then it does that, but it's on Redis here. It should be, yeah. I think that is about it.
Okay. And let me just ask you, what did you learn from this project? What's one thing that you just sticks out at you?
Settle on one thing. Don't try to
That's
do
really good.
a million things. I tend to like want to know want to learn how to do everything and want to do too much. And my brain just kind of goes everywhere and then it all becomes disorganized and then it doesn't come out the way you want. I should have just focused on the calendar and the events and the to-do and probably the login instead of doing everything else. That was probably a major roadblock, was just trying to just break it to one thing instead of trying to do everything. And then at a point you're like, well, I worked so hard on this part and this part. And so I kind of forced myself to make it all try to work, and then it didn't all work. And I wish I would have just focused on one thing. Also, I also learned how fast technology moves because of updating versions, like with the React. I mean, next updating to 15 kind of messed with all of the NPMs that I wanted to use. But we figured it out by downgrading and everything. But that was kind of a taste of the industry and how fast everything moves. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's probably
Okay. Questions? Anybody want to ask a few questions? We'll just maybe go for 5 more minutes here, and then we'll just kind of we can end it here. But anyone just be really good if you had questions for Jennifer. Technical questions or non-technical questions, or I was hoping somebody would show the, or if you want to show, maybe you want to show a little bit of the code. Oh, go ahead, Savannah.
I had a question about the calendar. How did you get that designed?
oh my goodness.
Yeah, and you could open the code maybe a little bit. You're talking about the calendar that she created herself, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, I
good.
followed a tutorial for it because like I was just kind of like Googling like different things like parts of my thing like if it was possible, and so like okay, the calendar, let me move this. This right here, the header is going to be its own little thing. So, but like I put all the logic in one, so it's kind of a lot, but I put all the logic in the calendar app component. And I went through like the whole tutorial. And so like you start with like you figure out the date and then you use state a lot to like, and then there's like these built-in um methods where you can find the different days, but like with these buttons you want to like move through here, and so it's pretty, it's a lot because they're all like also, oh yeah, I moved, let's see. So I have like an array of the days of the month. And so January is going to be 0 and December is going to be 11. So you kind of have to like go through it. And this is how to do like the priv month and like the year part. And so, and then you kind of -1 or +1 depending on like where you're at in the year. With the grid, I'm trying to think where it is. It's a lot. It's a lot because I went through the whole tutorial in like 3 days and it ended up being like so much. So I probably couldn't answer because you have to map them through. And then, yeah, it's very complicated.
That's really impressive. Could you send maybe the link that you used to do the demo?
Uh, let's see.
If you
Yeah,
don't, I was gonna say if you don't have it, then don't worry
I
about it.
do. I have a million.
And if everybody wants to submit their GitHub repo just in the chat here, in addition to the deploy site. Oh, this one
Yeah,
too, yeah.
this is it. This is the tutorial that I used.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna put it in the chat.
And did you put it in the README? You could do that.
Ooh, did I? It's on my Canva.
Oh, then your Canvas link to the README,
Mm-hmm.
so you can find it once.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to post the just post the GitHub to here. Everybody, if everyone just post the GitHub, and we can all bookmark those things and kind of share. Super. I'm gonna open them up before we log off, and I'm gonna definitely have those bookmarked.
Oh yeah, my contact email works now. I don't know,
Oh,
for some
great.
reason it was in the API on the Redis. There was a second S in the Redis. And I
Oh,
don't know how that got there by accident, but that's all I had to do, remove
that
that
is
and then
funny.
yeah, and then push it again and then it redeployed, so it's all good now.
that's a skill. That's a debugging skill. So very congratulations on that. It's pretty
Thanks.
quick work too. Yeah, any more questions for Jennifer or anybody else before we close up here? Feel free to ask a technical or non-technical question. Tedious, tedious work. Yeah, that's kind of the name of the game sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Raquel says, great job, Jen, tedious work.
Mm-hmm. Too much. I shouldn't have done it. But I learned a lot.
Hey, take it as the fact that you learned a lot as a push goal. Because I'm still learning stuff that when I'm like, oh, that's how you do that. Don't feel bad. I've been there too, screaming
Right.
at the computer many, many hours. So
Yeah. Yep. Luckily, with this project, we used the contact page. I used the same project for that. So luckily, I've already went through all the a million Vercel errors before we started our capstone. So I wasn't yelling at Vercel too much when I did the capstone because I already yelled at Vercel when we were doing the contact page and all that. So that was
Yeah, I
a
think we're
big,
all yelling at it together.
yeah, Vercel was a big blocker as well. Just having to like get push, get add, like then redeploy, then then you, oh, I'm down to 25 errors instead of 30. Then you go back and you're like, go back and forth, trying to find everything that it doesn't like about your project after doing all the logic work and getting everything to work on VS Code. And then when you deploy, you're like another hour or two trying to figure out all
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, the deploy, and it's always harder to debug on the deploy because you have to deploy in order to debug. That's really, those are the toughest ones. All right. Any last questions? Last call? Yeah, it says Vercel needs a major upgrade. And sometimes it's the major upgrades that cause even more problems. It's them moving fast. So, but that's kind of where we are. If you want the new thing, there's always some bugs.
A quick
Vercel
question.
and Next are known for that. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. So to for on Codex, do we upload it into the Capstone project also with
Yeah, just upload the
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 GitHub and the
yeah,
deployment?
yeah. And if you can put the deployment on the GitHub somehow,
Yes.
so I can click it, then you only need to do one link. If
Okay. Okay,
yeah,
great.
it'd be great if you have that on the, so when you share with somebody like or if you put it on your resume, it will all be there. You just share the GitHub.
I noticed on the inside of the Codex, the learning tools, that the final capstone doesn't have a submit button on there. That's where we're supposed to submit it.
Oh, well, I will check that. That may be I may have to update that. Maybe that I'll do that in a second.
Okay.
Maybe the date is wrong or something. But thanks for telling me. That would be something we need to fix. Yeah, great job. Should I stop the recording here? Oh yeah, get a domain and publish. Good advice, Raquel. And we can discuss that in the week after next if you want to. Okay, thank you for joining us here. I'm gonna stop the recording. Thanks for all the guests for joining us. Okay.